It is worrying to hear that a journalist was arrested while reporting on a protest. But I think the thing that people have told me they're worried about is that the police seem to be taking an arrest and ask questions later approach that day. Do you think that's acceptable?
I wouldn't accept that description of police activity. Yes, there were questions in relation to that particular journalist, and I've explained in my answer the police investigation. As you said, a freelance journalist was arrested at the coronation. He was arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to cause a public nuisance, the 22 Act, that's been looked into. I'm quite clear. There were fast-moving things happening during the course of that night. Sometimes intelligence is imperfect. Sometimes the police can, in good faith, make an arrest and have reasonable suspicion, and it later transpires the person they arrested has committed no criminal offence. And you wouldn't expect, actually, for every single person the police to arrest to be subsequently charged. And the good news in relation to the Republic protesters was, as the leader has said, there was an apology from the police because the police realised that those people arrested hadn't committed a criminal offence.
Mr. Mayor, it's really worrying that those 8 protesters from Republic were arrested and then bailed, and you said the bail, it was all cancelled and no further action. Same happening for the the Night Stars volunteers. It's really chilling for people who want to protest in London, and that is a human right. It is part of our culture in London to go to peaceful protests, and these are people who were locked up for about 16 hours. It's a traumatic experience being arrested and locked up, and it is really worrying to hear that that has been happening on our streets in London. Did you get any impression from the briefings you had beforehand that there was going to be this approach of locking people up for such long periods with such low tolerance?
Well, it's because there were concerns raised that I wrote to the Commissioner, and both the Commissioner and I have made our letters public to reassure the public in relation to the police's response and the questions that I have clearly. Not only is it in our culture to protest, it's enshrined in legislation. Article 10 is quite clear of the Human Rights Act in relation to the right to protest, and that includes protesting when it's not the most popular issue in the world, by the way. And nobody's suggesting, and certainly the police aren't, that you can suspend the right to protest when there is a coronation, and there was lots of protests taking place over that weekend. I think the issue is if there are lessons to be learned in relation to the 2 new acts, the 23 Act and the 22 Act in particular, and that's why I've asked the Commissioner for the operational review to be made public so the public can be reassured that any lessons that can be learned should be learned.